Hello, hello, hello. Thank you guys for tuning in for another live. We are here, King Simon Entertainment. Wonderful programming, original programming that we're committed to bringing to you. And we want to thank you so much for all your support. We want to thank you so much for the wonderful contributions, donations you guys have. We have a wonderful guest again today on Hollywood Now, giving people a few chance to get in here before we bring her guest in. Um, First, thank you guys for watching another interview with Hollywood Now, where we interview today's Hollywood stars, influencers, and the insiders of Hollywood. And we've been getting great momentum. Thank you guys for your contribution. Thank you guys for your support. King Simon Entertainment. We're now on all social media, Twitter. We on Instagram, Facebook, King Solomon Entertainment Company. Please join, subscribe, share, comment. And we want to also thank our partners and our sponsors. We want to thank hearttoheartforyou.org, USC Black Alumni Association for its support, and the Morning Greenwood Foundation for its wonderful support. Continue to support. If you want to support our median on directly, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, and Zelle, King Simon Entertainment. Please, God, continue to support and just stay tuned. We have wonderful, wonderful things going on today. And of course, today we have no exception. We're going to bring in our guests and get the interview started. And stand by. And that's, we have to wait a few more minutes. Sometime the internet don't want to behave. Make sure you add me on Instagram. Make sure you add me on all social media. We're trying to bring our guests in now. Be a little patient. We're going to try to bring it on in right now so we can start the interview. Thank you guys so much for your support. I really appreciate it. We're going to tip one more time to bring our guests in to get the interview started with Hollywood Now. Stand by. See, I'm learning. You got to be patient. See? And it worked that time. Bringing in our guests. Thank you guys so much. Hollywood Now, another interview with a wonderful Hollywood insider. I'm going to allow her to introduce herself, and then we get the interview started. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Tiauna Jackson, owner of the Jackson Agency, a talent and literary agency headquartered in Century City, California.
Yes. So, Miss Jackson, when did you know you want to do entertainment? I read your bio. You have a wonderful list of great talent you work with. You have a wonderful cause. But please let the people know, let our audience know, what did it all begin with you with entertainment?
Yeah, I think it started as a kid. I've always had a love of television and film. I started writing my own scripts when I was about a junior in high school, about 15, and shot my first two short films when I was 16, a senior in high school,
Wow.
and kind of pursued it on the side. I needed a steady check. Entertainment's a hustle. So I took a regular, boring corporate accounting job and did that while doing various things in entertainment on the side.
Mm.
Then when I hit my 30s, that was when I dove back into entertainment and said, you know what, I'm doing this no matter what. This is what I love to do.
Yeah, yeah. And so, in the beginning, did you start off as a talent agent, literary agent? What did you start off as your introduction into entertainment business?
I think the first thing I ever worked was probably background, actually. And then I did a few PA gigs, but mainly I started doing background when I was in college and undergrad.
Okay.
That was a way for me to get on set
Gotcha.
so I could see what was going on and get paid.
Yeah, yeah. So from writing, from learning the arts in school, now doing background work, you kind of like found your niche once you got in and seen how things work. Did that how it happened?
No, talent agenting for me came out of necessity. There really weren't any Black agents. There still aren't that many. And even though I have a very impressive resume, I was unable to get employed at most talent agencies, even as recent as 2 years ago. Still am finding barriers to entry. So I was meeting a bunch of actors who were saying the same thing. I can't get an agent. And after going through what we went through in our 20s, trying to navigate that space, when I hit 12 years later, still the same problem. It doesn't make any sense, right?
Yeah.
And so that's when I decided, all right, I'm going to have to go ahead and do this. And so that's how the agency started. It was literally out of necessity. If no one else was going to do it, I guess I was going to have to.
Yeah. No, that's what I meant by finding, because the entertainment business is so big, and a lot of people think you got to be in front of the camera, although that's where it starts. Doing that, you'll start off learning where you really fit in it and where you really begin to make traction. And so when I began to work in the entertainment industry behind the scenes, I also saw that void, that there was no representation for Black agents. And so I would have never known that if I wasn't participating in the entertainment industry. I would have known what the void was. So that's what I meant by you was doing the extra work, you was writing, you got in there, and you found out what was missing, and then you became that. So that's wonderful.
Only out of necessity, not by passion. You know what I'm saying? I didn't wake up and be like, I want to be a talent agent today. It was literally like, oh, wow, they really not going to let us do this? Okay, we're going to do it anyway.
Okay. I read your mission. Now, your mission says from that, not having real representation, and you said underrepresentation, undervalue when it comes to people of color. Tell me, how has your mission kind of like carved into that and being talent agent, literary agent?
Yeah, the underrepresented, the underestimated, and the underserved. It comes from just knowing exactly how this industry operates. That generally, if you approach an agency and they already had a third. So it just came from a place of, all right, I'm going to do what I can to try to help, even though we know it's going to be an uphill battle. But that doesn't mean that you don't have to meet the bare minimum requirements. I cannot stress that enough. People will call and they just don't meet the bare minimum requirements. I can't take an unpolished rock to a network studio. You know what I'm saying? So I have to stress this enough for anybody who wants to reach out. Oh, I have an idea for a show. Okay, well, you've got to have the script done, and I'm requiring a pitch deck as well because I want to see a visual representation of whatever your work is.
Okay. So
you've got to meet bare minimum requirements.
So take us through some of the services you provide and what you expect from clients you're looking at and potentially will sign up.
Mm-hmm. So right now we're a talent and literary agency. So on the talent side, I represent actors for on-camera opportunities, musical theater as well, but mainly commercial, print, television, that kind of thing. And we're looking for people that are expertly trained, people who have fully developed profiles with 4 to 6 different headshots on them. People who understand that the resume needs to not have featured or background or character names on it, that it should have co-star, guest star, lead, or supporting. Having quality training from various improv schools that hold value, Meisner technique, comedy training. So we're looking for, like I said, what would be the bare minimum, things that you're supposed to have if you're going to hold yourself out as a professional. Does that mean that you could naturally, just pick it up and go act? Sure. We were all dramatic as children. It's there. But there's something to be said of being an expert in your craft and being a trained professional. And you have to understand how to navigate the industry. A lot of you think you just show up and go. That's not how this works. You need to spend the night preparing. You need to be well rested, be able to survive on set for 14 hours, right? Mm-hmm. Those are things that people don't think about, is the amount of time that's put into working in this industry. You have very long, late hours. You're awake. You might be chilling in your trailer, but you're still awake. You're not at home. You're not chilling. So that's going to be taxing on the body. It can be very tiring.
Yeah. Learning the ins and outs through trial and error and putting in the work. What would be some advice you would give to a lot of inspiring actors and the ones who have a good resume, or like you said, ones who's polished that you can actually work with? What kind of inside advice would you give them being from the inside?
Understand, first and foremost, always trust your gut. All right. Every time I didn't trust my gut, it cost me money. Okay. So trust your gut. If it don't feel right, back away. Don't force it. I think also you need to be cautious, both male and female, of predators that are out there. So always make a habit of telling somebody where you're going. when you go on an audition. Don't be afraid to use the buddy system. Have somebody drive with you. They can wait in the car. They don't have to be in the room. The industry is so unmasked, you know, because anybody can go rent a camera and say, I'm shooting a movie, right? Everybody's a producer. Everybody's a director.
Yeah.
So you cannot always just trust anybody just because they say they're something. So I want to make sure that everybody understands that, because, you know, we got a lot of people missing in this world. And so we need to talk about those things.
Now
when it comes,
no, go ahead, please. No,
and so when I'm looking for someone, I'm looking for someone who has a particular look that fits, you know, what we're looking for. Headshots are supposed to look a certain way. And I'm looking for a demo reel that shows a range of characters, not just one, ideally, unless you're just a straight up and down character actor and that's all you're good for. But I'm looking to see what your range is.
Yes.
I'm looking to see if you understand what this business is, if you know how to conduct yourself and know how to handle yourself and navigate sticky situations. Because trust, there's always going to be sticky situations.
Yes.
And if you don't know how to navigate that, that can be a bit of a red flag. Meaning we had an instance once where I had to finesse a situation for a client who got tired of the lack of organization on a production, and he had already given 3 days of his life to it for like pennies. They weren't even paying him.
Yeah.
And they still couldn't get their you know what together.
Yes.
And so finally he had enough. He was like, look, I've given you guys the days that I said I was going to do, and now you're adding on another day. I've already taken a week off of work for your project. I'm not even getting paid. And now you're adding in another day and then giving me grief about adding in that other day. And so he did what any normal human being would do. He told them how he felt. Because his producer was unseasoned, she thought she could run to his agent and tell on him. So she came and called the office, and another agent answered. They're like, yeah, we got a call about so-and-so. Apparently there was a problem on set. So first I'm going to reach out to my client and find out what happened. And he was apologetic. He was like, I'm so sorry. And I said, okay, but like, what happened that made you react that way? And then he told me. I was like, oh yeah, I'd be fucking pissed too. Oh, sorry, I don't know if I could. I'd be pissed too, right? And so then I talked to the producer, and she didn't know what she was doing. She didn't even have the paperwork. He wasn't even contractually obligated to work, nor did she have his release to use his face.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and told her, like, look, at this point, you're only paying this much money. We don't even have a contract in place. You either pay my client, because you can, you know, the scene they needed to shoot, it was just his arm. They didn't even need him. I said, you need to pay my client, otherwise we're going to block the release of this film.
Yeah.
We got paid.
We here at Hollywood Now, another interview. Thank you guys for tuning in with Tiauna Jackson, talent agent, literary agent. And we also just wanted to ask, like, you are reaching out to networks, production companies, how challenging it is when you're new to establish those relationships, to get your foot in the door to get in. Like, share some nuggets about that part of how challenging that is.
It is by no means an easy feat. It is very difficult. And even at this level, there's still rejection, right? Because if they don't know you, they may not want to take your client's script. And then they may take your client's script and scrutinize it more than they would if it came from one of the bigger agencies. So you have to navigate all of these different elements at all different times. And you're dealing with small victories is what I like to call them.
Yes.
We could have 20 rejections today, but we might get one yes. You know, and so you have to just block all of that out. You have to constantly keep going, keep trying to make those essentially sales calls, right? Trying to see, hey, what are you guys looking for? Well, guess what? I've got this great comedy, blah, 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 blah. Would you want to take a look at it?
Yeah.
So it's just a constant, you're out there grinding the pavement.
What advice would you give to the literary? Because I have a lot of, you know, we in the author era, self-publishing, et cetera. Everybody's a writer. Beautiful thing. A lot of content. Content is king. What advice would you give to authors, writers, literary people who say, I need representation? What should they package you be doing? What should they have already done before they get to you?
So we'll start with the authors. We don't really have too many. They're coming in on like a case-by-case basis. But my understanding is that what needs to be in place is a couple of chapters,
Yes.
meaning give us a writing sample, shows us the first couple of chapters so we can see, you know, if this thing is really interesting, right? Because unfortunately, there are a lot of bad writers out there. And I can say that as someone who did open call for the entire world, and we received hundreds of scripts, and most were awful. Okay. um, and so I think what's missing in that process is actually polishing those materials. And it's something I'm going through too as we sign clients. We're signing them off the script that they sent us that we got cleared and it came back solid. And then we've been out shopping it. And now all of a sudden I made a revision. What do you mean? We're out here shopping this thing. This should be locked and polished. And so on the flip side of that is I've had people reach out because they probably just wanted to see if they could get a response, and they actually didn't even have the material ready. I just had a production company reach out saying, well, hey, we're looking for this. And then I said, okay, send me a sizzle reel. Show me your proof of concept reel. Oh, we don't have it yet. It's not going to be ready till next week. Oh, well, then you shouldn't have reached out. Bye. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just like, you had my attention and then you had nothing.
Yeah.
So you don't get to go out here on Twitter and be swinging at the air talking about nobody's taking a chance on me. Nah, you played yourself because I responded.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. I want to read something that pretty much the premise of what you say your mission is, the heart of what your drive is, what you have discovered from doing the work. Viola Davis said, betrayed myself, my people by doing the movie The Help. Jackson AC, you responded saying you didn't. You found a way to navigate an industry that long ignored your talent, and you used those talents to amass not only recognition for your unmatched talent, but to amass the power and wealth that it takes to now tell the stories that you want to tell. You proudly wore your natural hair on the red carpet during a time when straight hair was not considered professional or beautiful. You never tweeted out Trump was your dragon blood brother. So don't worry, Queen. You've done nothing wrong. Now it's time for you to switch to an all-black team. What did you mean by that?
First off, I need to stop playing on the internet. Here's the deal. There are a lot of people who had to sacrifice parts of themselves in order to make it. And Biola Davis is one of those people who's been in the game for a very long time and was often overlooked and disrespected. You know what I'm saying? And undervalued, right? Like she even said, she's had a career comparable to the Meryl Streep, and she has. And I would say even better in some instances because she doesn't do TV. You know what I'm saying? So she's recognizing like, man, you know, maybe she's having that moment of, well, if I could do it all over again and everything still ended up the same, I probably wouldn't have done this movie. But what I don't want is for anybody, because you know, Black Twitter, right?
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to attack her because she did the movie The Help.
Yes.
Because anybody who understands the business, and you saw as soon as she could, she opened up Juvie Productions. As soon as she was in position on the tail end of How to Get Away with Murder, she opened up her own production company so she could start to tell the kind of stories that she wanted to tell.
Yes.
Comparison, her career really hasn't been that awful. She really hasn't disparaged or damaged the Black community in any way, shape, or form like some other folks have.
Yes.
And so I get where she's coming from. She's conscious and she's aware that she is a role model and that she has some elements of power to where she can impact change. And so the first thing is recognizing, I might have, you know, messed up a little bit by doing this film. But the way I see it, she didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, the film was commercialized. It was supposed to be a Black story, but obviously it was commercialized for the white audience.
Oh, yeah.
But ultimately, from where I'm sitting, even though I have no relationship with them at all, nobody talked to me, but from where I'm sitting, she's done all the things the right way. No. And I just wanted to speak my piece about it before other folks chimed in, because I sat up here and had a whole fight with a stranger behind Thandie Newton saying that she was the first Black woman in Star Wars. And then you had Black people come and say, you're not Black. And I'm like, what are y'all talking about? And I said, and furthermore, you want to sit up here and bash somebody who's claiming their Blackness? You know how many people won't even claim their Blackness?
Yeah.
So for me, I just wanted to say what I wanted to say. So I said what I said.
No, it was beautifully said. And I totally agree. I have to say the movie, I like the movie. And I was going to say also the narrative was shown from the housekeeper's perspective, you know, and they kind of like drove the movie. You know, as far as they move the story forward in the film. And once again, during that era when a lot of the African American women were housekeepers, their story is not told from their perspective. And I thought, here we are, we're doing it, and with the mainstream audience. So you could look at it from that way, you know what I'm saying? But I think it was wonderfully did. Again, it showed how great of an actress she really is, and I just believe a great actress can play any role and do wonders with it. That's a good actor, you know. And so that no, I love what you said. That was wonderful. And so really, I just wanted to bring you on because I read your bio and I wanted to connect Hollywood insiders in front of the camera, behind the camera, help empower people. A lot of times, in addition with representation, you still have an obligation to take your career in your own hand. You have to do a lot of work yourself. You know that. And it's challenging all the way around to get projects made and to stay consistent. And so as many people that's on the front line that's doing the work, we need to, you know, bring awareness and help each other and give those nuggets and, you know, connect and do all those things. And when I see you, what you were doing, I thought it was a beautiful thing that you were doing. And please let the audience know one thing about the Jackson Agency that they do not know, and please give out your social media handles and everything.
Oh, wow. I don't know because, you know, I am super transparent.
Mm.
I have shared the good and the bad. Things that you just would never imagine that would happen. Even today, I was going back through where I'm reminded that some white man sent a script to me called N-Word Lover, talking about this is a movie during, you know, racial strife and this, that, and the other. And, oh, don't worry, I can change the title. Well, you probably should have changed the title to begin with before you sent it to the black agency, right?
Yeah.
I've had people call my office call me the N-word. I've had people call me slurs, you know, because of my sexuality. I've had a lot of bad happen, but then I've had some good happen at the same time. And so what's interesting about this process is it is so unpredictable. You just never know what's going to happen. We had an instance where I started this Black Talent Agent Training Academy, and everything was going great. I had 5 or 6 people in the room. I was educating them on all the pros and cons so they could make an informed decision as whether or not they really wanted to do this. This was for people who wanted to be agents because, you know, there's a shortage of black agents. I realized just me, the fact that I wasn't able to get in anywhere. It's like, well, I'm sure there's tons of other people like me, but the difference is nobody's willing to train them for free like I am. Nobody has navigated the industry at the boutique level the way I have. Most cats started at a bigger agency and then branched out on their own after they had the blueprint.
Yeah.
I couldn't even get the blueprint, so I just started it. Yeah. But everything's going great, and all of a sudden, one of the guys decided he wanted me to be his literary agent for that. This is
the agent in training.
The potential trainee. After I've gone through all of my day-to-day and even went on stories about how random, crazy stuff happens to me all the time. I said, anybody got questions? He said, yeah, I have a question. I said, okay, what's your question? He said, well, I wrote a script and I want you to be my agent. And I said, but we're not here for that. I'm trying to make agents. I'm not looking for clients. Like we already have clients. This isn't about that. Oh, well, I'm trying to help you out. I'm trying to give you the privilege. And so I was like, oh, wow, okay. Well, thank you, but I'm not interested. Right. And then he still just kept going off and I had to bounce him from the meeting. He kept trying to come back. He literally ruined our training academy orientation, which I think that's what he wanted to do all along. And so even when you try to build something, you'll always have somebody who wants to try to tear it down. Yeah. That's the one thing I have learned. So I guess if there's something that you don't know, we go through a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So please,
a lot of things
give us social media handle before they kick us off, and we'll definitely be in touch. I'm doing a panel. I want you to be a part of that panel, and so I'll have you back. But please give your social media handles. Let them know where they get in contact with you, your website and stuff.
Okay. So the Instagram is Jackson Agency, and our website is thejacksonagency.com.
Okay. So thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate you. Again, I'm gonna have back real soon. We're doing a panel with talent and stuff, you know, and so we want to definitely connect the community more, and definitely want to have you back with other agents and with a friend of mine, Ricardo Handy, who's Sunrise Media. And so definitely have back on. I'd love you to be a part of it. It'd be wonderful. Thank you so much for doing the interview. Have a great rest of your day. I'll be in touch with you. You'll be back on. Thank you so much. And definitely subscribe and see what we do and check us out, you know? Thank you so much. Thank you guys for another interview. Hollywood Now. Subscribe, comment, like, reach out. If you're a talent, reach out to Tiauna Jackson Agency. And thank you guys so much for watching that interview with Hollywood Now. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.